Hello and welcome. My name is Mel and I am here to guide you through all things yoga. Today's chair yoga, we will be focusing on our hips, opening them, getting some movement into them, and really appreciating all that they do for us. Remembering whether we're sitting, standing, walking, cooking, everything we do, even when we're sleeping, these hips are hard at work. For today's practice, you may want a supportive pillow or blanket rolled up in some kind of fashion to assist in supporting the lumbar. When we're working with the hips along with the pelvic tilt, sometimes having that little bit of extra support will keep that low back from getting fatigued. Remembering to adjust that support anytime that you need. You want to feel safe in order to get that body to actually release. When you're ready, meet me seated. For my support today, I am choosing to take a folded blanket simply to sit upon, so that way it evens out my chair. The chair that I have has a slight angle and tilt back, so I've used that towel to bridge that gap and even it out nice and flat. Having a flat surface today is going to be very valuable to sit on because we are going to be adjusting the width of the knees and opening up those hips. Beginning our practice with the feet at hip distance apart, knees at hip distance apart. Take some time to wiggle in, find a comfortable spot on your seat, adjust any lumbar support if you've chosen to take it. Drawing the shoulders down and back, soften the shoulders, soften the face and the brow. Let's close the eyes and just find the breath. Noticing where the breath has been today. Have we even taken a full breath yet? Letting those inhales flow in deeper. See if you can close the eyes. Begin to bring your awareness in. Noticing not only the parts of the body that are asking for a little bit more attention today. Parts of the body that might be a little loud or cranky. But also take time to notice the parts of the body that are feeling good today. Soft, gentle, the parts of the body that have no complaints. As we keep inviting these inhales deeper. Let those exhales take a little bit longer, just slowing down our breath, creating a more full, vivacious breath. Letting the inhales expand the lungs, make the belly big, the body large. And then finding just that opposite space, density in the body, squeezing out all of the leftover breath. Don't leave anything behind. Welcome in only the new. Refilling to the top. And again, empty to the bottom. Not only starting by stretching the lungs, but stretching the muscles that surround the lungs. Reminding ourselves our true capacity. As we stay with these big deep breaths in and out through the mouth, we'll just begin by rocking back and forth. Nice and slow, leaning forward and backward. Slight warm up with the hips as we're hinging from the hips. So when I say lean forward and backward, I'm not just talking about the shoulders. So I don't want us to be cranking in a crunch-like motion. I want the spine to be flat, neck to be long, hinging from the hips, rock back and forth. Letting that shift your weight around. Move as slowly as feels good. Option to get the feet involved if you'd like. As you lean back, you can lift the ball mount to the foot, seeing if you can lift the toes. On the exhale, see if you want to lean it forward, little lift into the heel. Inhaling back, exhaling forward. A little bit more intention with this. On the bottom of that final breath, returning the body back into center, we're going to take notice of the feet. Notice if the feet have been facing forward, toes facing forward, or if the toes have been turning in or turning out. We're going to heel toe the feet just wider than hip distance. So not your fullest width you can take, about just an inch or so out wider with each knee from hip distance. As you notice the angle of the feet in this first round, we're going to try to turn the toes in. Turning the toes in is a closing of the hips. So this stretch will oftentimes access a little bit more of the outside of the hips where it leads into the piriformis in that SI joint. Lengthening in the spine, again hinging from the hips, lean forward and backward. You may notice subtle differences. You may notice nothing at all. There is no right or wrong. We're warming these things up intentionally. Continuing that rocking back and forth. And guiding the body back into center, we're going to take the toes out now wider than the heels. This will create a sense of opening in the hips. You may notice that the knees were affected by this turn. You can even play with it a little. Notice how the knees change as you point your toes in versus turn your toes out. Grounding down into those legs, nice and long in the spine. Keep that flat back. Lead with the heart. Rock forward and backward. Noticing if you feel any differences just yet, observing the body. We take this one step at a time. There's a lot of benefit in easing your body into something instead of just taking yourself to the fullest extent, the hardest variation. Body eventually comes back into center. Turn the toes forward. Finding that neutrality in the hips, draw the shoulders down and back, close the eyes. Take one big breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Heel toe the feet out as wide as the knees can go. Taking these knees out as wide as you can get them. Start with the toes facing forward. So this might feel a little awkward. With the toes facing forward, they might almost feel like they're pigeon-toed in, but keep the toes forward. Knees out wide. I want you to try to engage a little bit more here. Pressing down into the sit bones, begin to squeeze the glutes. See if that will pull the knees out a little wider. So you're going to be very inclined to take the toes out wide, but just don't worry, we'll get there. There's a lot of benefit here. Ground down into the legs, ground down into the sit bones, squeeze the glutes to try to keep the knees open. Spine is long, neck is long, hands onto thighs. Rock back and forth. This is going to require a little bit more from the feet. You may want to lift all of the toes and access the secondary muscles of the feet. Rocking back and forth and observing what has changed. Guiding the body back to stacked. When you're ready, turn the toes out wide. As to stabilize yourself, press down into the feet. Actively press those knees out wide. If it's in your practice, press down into the sit bones to really feel yourself in your chair. Squeeze the glutes to help keep the hips open. So reminding ourselves, part of what we're doing here is not only stretching and opening, but the strengthening of the glutes will take less off of the hips. We share the weight, we share the energy, we share the work together. Ground down in those legs, lengthen that neck, lengthen the spine. Lead with the heart. We hinge from the hips. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, guide back a lot slower this time. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. You may not go very far, that's okay. This can be very, very intense. Let yourself get everything you need from it. Remember, we're not here to feed the ego, we want to nourish the body. Returning back into center as you brace yourself onto your chair. So that may be holding onto the back of it, potentially onto the bottom of it. As we maybe have to heel toe those feet in a little bit wider, bracing this right hand down, left hand onto the left knee. We're going to isolate this right leg, rock that right knee from side to side. Now the point in anchoring this right hand down is so we're not just flopping the whole body from side to side. This isolation is key so that right hand is engaged, locked onto something. Left hand is onto that left knee. Pivoting on the four corners of the foot, if you want to strengthen the secondary muscles of the foot and ankle here, flex the toes. If that's a little bit much today, just rock the knee. Rocking that knee from side to side, see the largest range of motion you can make. These movements can be slow, they could get a little faster. There's no right or wrong way. You listen to your body. Your body will tend to crave one thing or the other, and that means it may crave just that simple lean out. It may crave more of a lean in. 3 more breaths here into the isolation of this right hip. Keeping the spine long, breath deep. As that leg comes back into center, plant the right hand onto it, anchor down in those feet, close the eyes for 1 breath. Notice the difference between the 2 side bodies. Preparing for the other side. Anchoring down in both feet to start. Right hand stays on to the right thigh, left arm gets anchored down onto that chair. That could be grabbing the base of the chair, maybe the back of the chair. Give yourself stability in order to isolate. Anchoring down in the 4 corners of that left foot, you have the option to flex the toes or keep the toes soft. Start to rock that left knee from side to side. And again, you may not have the same range of motion in both sides. That is okay. One side is not your good side, one side is not your bad side. Both of these sides work very hard for you. Honoring that, thanking that. Thank these hips, thank these legs. Slow or quick movements, listen to your body. My right side liked a little slower, my left side wants a little faster. I'm going to honor that. Observing what feels best for you. 2 more breaths. Neck is long, core is strong. I only say strong core so we can help stabilize that spine. We're not finding an intense crunch or anything. Knee comes back into center. Hands onto both thighs. Big breath in the nose. Sigh it out the mouth. Just absorbing, just digesting. As we walk both feet back into center, feet at hip distance, anchoring down into the feet, left hand is going to come onto that left thigh, right hand is going to anchor. Again, that could be anchored down onto the bottom of the chair or to the back of the chair. We just want the stability. If you figure out you don't need the anchor, then you don't need it. Trust yourself. As we then start to heel toe that right foot out wide, we're going to drag that right foot alongside of the chair. Now we have the option to rest the top of the foot down onto the mat. This will be a beautiful stretch for the top of that ankle. Beautiful stretch for the front of the shin, all the way up into this hip flexor. If you want something a little bit more active, you can tuck the toes under and rest onto the ball mount of the foot. This here will give you a little bit more control. So it is your choice if you would like to stay here for some time, or I'm going to continue to add options and offer options that you may want to take. No obligation, no requirement. If you have the foot onto the ball mount of that foot, we can start wiggling that foot further back, letting the front of this hip open by inching that right foot back, almost behind us. Finding the opening, the front right side body. If you want a little bit more from this, draw the shoulders down and back, press the ribs forward. Big, deep breaths. And these big, deep hip flexors here, including our psoas, that's what we're opening. The psoas muscles is a set of muscles that attaches the front of our hip and femur all the way around behind to the lumbar spine. Lengthening in the neck. You can stay here if you wish. If you would like to explore more, join me. As we wiggle that right foot a little wider than it had been out to the right. We're then going to notice the knee pivoting on the foot. See if you can draw circles with the knee. That feels nice. Pivoting on that big toe, drawing circles with that knee. The rest of the body stays still. So we are anchoring down in those sit bones, anchoring down in that left leg, right knee's going around. And as you get used to this, see if you want to explore further, taking the knee in or up or out or down further than we had before, creating slight extension. And as you find the edges of those circles, listen to your body. There may be one angle that you're like, wow, I could really sit with that for some time. Breathe with it, trust it. As I have personally found a spot I just want to rock back and forth with, take that. We're going to be here for 5 more breaths. Big, intense hip opener. This is not meant to be easy, but it is worth it. That I promise. The very bottom of that final breath, let it all out. As we slowly drag that right knee back in line with the hip. Both feet planted flat in front of us, both hands on to the thighs. Draw the shoulders down and back. Take one breath in. Sigh it out. Soft breath in and out. Just take a moment to notice. Not always expecting the side you just worked with to feel better than the other side. It's the awareness that we're finding. Things don't always feel great at first when you're exploring new territory. It's okay. It's the consistency that will bring the greatest value. Coming onto that other side, right hand stays anchored to that right thigh. Anchoring down that left hand onto the chair again, under the chair, behind the chair. As you heel toe that left foot out to the side, we're going to drag that left foot in line with the chair, dropping that right knee down towards the ground. So this is obviously going to shift some weight into that right leg. Let it. Option to drag the top of that left foot onto the mat. Beautiful opening. You could inch that leg back a little bit more if you choose, and you can stay here this whole time. Only if you crave more exploration do I want you to continue and join me. If you don't continue with the movement, stay with your breath. Fully beneficial to take your time here. Option to have that foot resting onto the ball mount of the foot. Again, you can inch it back further, getting a little bit more. If you choose that, draw the shoulders down and back. Press forward in the ribs, lengthen in the spine. Breathe. If you desire more, please join me. Inch that left foot out to the left, out a little wider. And then pivoting on that big toe, notice that left knee, draw circles with the knee. Big, deep breaths to match this big, intense energy. And again, finding the very edges of these circles. One direction or the other, and as you continue to explore these movements, you may have found defined areas that just need extra attention. Spaces that you'd like to take time to breathe into. Spend these movements or this stillness however you would like for 5 more deep breaths. Let those inhales nourish. And those exhales, release. Again, moving fast or slow, whatever this side of your body craves. Just like before, the right side of my body wanted it slower. The left side is liking this quicker movement. Embracing, trusting yourself. Bottom of that breath, let it all out. As the inhalation drags that left foot back in line with the right. Both knees in line with the hips, palms onto the thighs. Inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale, side out. As you lean back into your chair, keeping the knees at hip distance, we lean back into the chair, option to brace yourself along the back, option to just really bring a lot of pillow behind the back. Leaning away from the legs. What we're doing is we're trying to change the tilt of the pelvis and the angle of the body. So if you think about when we're sitting here, the body's at this 90-degree angle with the thighs, the torso and the thighs, right? Then we want to change that angle to be considerably more obtuse. Leaning back how it feels right. Extend the feet just about an inch forward in front of you. Rock the feet from side to side. Let the knees flop from side to side. Option to stay here if you'd like to join for just a little back bend. We're pressing the ribs forward, lifting the heart up. Option to lift the chin. 3 more breaths here, however you crave for the spine to be. On the bottom of that breath, let everything return back to center. Body back to that 90-degree angle with the thighs, torso and thighs in line. Draw the shoulders down and back. Take 1 breath here just to digest this center space. Returning to a place you've been to before allows you to reevaluate the changes we've created in the body and breath. For our final offering, our final opening in the hips, heel toe the feet out wide as feels good. As you place the hands onto the top of the thighs, option for the top of the knees if it's in your practice. Toes are facing wide as we actively press down into the feet, squeezing the glutes, lengthening the spine. This here is our goddess pose. Lifting into the heart, squeezing the shoulder blades together. So we take a nice big inhale. See if you can get even taller. On the exhale, right hand presses to the inside of the right knee. Press that right knee away as you turn the shoulders to the left. Now we may need to make some adjustments. If you feel insecure there, for me, I need to scoot closer to the top of my chair. Pressing the knee away so you can find that little bit of twist, but we're not collapsing deep into here. We want to keep a nice long spine. Right arm locked out. Find a little twist. Option to take the gaze behind you or up to the sky. I like mine to the left. 1 more full breath all the way in, all the way out. Inhale, body comes back to center. Draw the shoulders down and back, even out. Planting that left hand on the inside of that thigh. Inhale to get nice and tall. Exhale, press that left knee away. Turn the shoulder, turn the gaze. Opening the body up. Option to look behind you, look up. I like my gaze to the right. Whenever you're ready, let's find a little flow with that. Inhale, push the body to center. Exhale, press the right knee away, twist left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, center. Exhale, little twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center, spine is long and up. As we heel toe the feet into center, into touch, let the knees fall out wide. Option to roll onto the pinky edges of the feet. Flip the palms up, lengthen in the neck. Take 2 big breaths here. Close the eyes. Final time, plant the feet down into center, brace back onto your chair. As you create that more obtuse angle, rock the knees from side to side. one at a time, maybe both. You can bring a rocking side to side together like a windshield wiper, or you can let the knees come in together, bounce off of each other, and go out wide. Rearranging some of that stagnant energy as we stay leaned back in our chair. Let's point the legs long, point the toes long. Option to lift the heart and the ribs up to the sky. One more inhale here. On the exhale, slowly return back to your most comfortable seat, back to center. As we seal our practice with one unified breath, hands to heart center, let's empty the lungs. Join me as we inhale all the way to the top and hold it. Bring in a little bit more, one more sip it, then let it go. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May your entire universe be filled with peace, joy, love, and light. Satnam. Thank you so much for joining me today. Reminder to keep those hips moving, keep those hips grooving, and even when you are seated throughout the day, pay attention. See if you can switch up the width of the legs, the angles of the feet. It's the motion that is the lotion for these bodies, particularly for these hip joints. I can't wait to see you next time, and thank you so much for joining me. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. And if you have any special requests or other things you would like to know, please comment below.